The final race of the 2024 election has finally been decided 6 months after the last ballot was cast. Republican Judge Jefferson Griffin has conceded to Justice Allison Riggs in a long-fought fight over a seat on North Carolina's Supreme Court. A full machine recount and partial hand recount show Riggs, who was appointed to the Supreme Court in 2023, winning by just 734 votes out of more than 5.5 million ballots cast. But Griffin had argued that more than 65,000 of the ballots cast should be thrown out because of eligibility issues. But a federal judge who had been appointed by Donald Trump ordered the results showing Riggs winning to be certified. Justice Allison Riggs joins me now. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Kristen.
And congratulations on your win. Let me start off. Have you spoken to your opponent, Jefferson Griffin? Has he officially conceded to you since this court fight ended?
I have not spoken to him, but obviously he has conceded the race publicly. And I'm really grateful that a well-reasoned, thoughtful decision from the federal court finally ended this long fight. This was a fight that put the right to vote of over 68,000 voters at issue, at risk. And it has been my position since the beginning that the federal Constitution does not allow the changing of the rules of an election afterwards to be applied retroactively. So I'm very grateful right now that those voters have been vindicated for all the support that has come my way nonstop in the last 6 months in a very challenging fight.
Do you have any concerns that because this was so drawn out, that could in some ways overshadow, particularly as you start to serve your term, the work that you want to do?
Well, there are sort of two things I'd say on that. One is I'm worried about the threats that we keep seeing to the normal acceptance of election results after an election happens. I feel like these attempts to undermine the will of the voters, the crescendo of this is troubling to me. And so that to me is about bigger than my seat and my role. It's about the health and well-being of our democracy across this country. So that's one thing. Second thing is I have been campaigning for the last 2.5 years on this vision of North Carolina voters share certain values. We want our judges to recognize that our state constitution protects rights and not use their role on the bench to roll back North Carolinians' rights. So over the next few years through the 2028 election, we in North Carolina, where we elect judges, we have the opportunity to elect judges who will be good judges, who will put the Constitution over party and personal political ambition and put North Carolina voters first. And so we're going to reelect Justice Anita Earls in 2026. And then control of the North Carolina Supreme Court is on the line in the 2028 election. And so I'm going to use every bit of opportunity to frame what has happened over the last 6 months for voters so they understand what's at issue going forward.
Well, and you do lead me to my next question, which is that Republicans do still hold a 5-2 majority on the North Carolina Supreme Court. How do you see your role evolving as a justice who's in the minority?
Yeah, I mean, it's being a judge is about putting aside your personal feelings and working with your colleagues because it's a group decision-making structure. I come from a very politically diverse family, and so my Thanksgiving dinner table has been good training for the work that I have to do. But my job is to serve the people of North Carolina, and to elevate the Constitution and the rule of law above all else. And I will work with anyone who's willing to do that. And I have a healthy sense of humor, so it'll serve me well.
You're one of many families all across this country that has very interesting Thanksgiving dinners. Let me ask you, we are witnessing really this sort of extraordinary standoff between the Trump administration and the courts on a range of different issues. What has your reaction been to that, and what do you think the implications are, broadly speaking? Because, for example, the president says the courts cannot tell me how to conduct foreign policy. And so it does raise questions about what, if any, recourse the courts have to enforce decisions that are reached.
Now, we need an independent judiciary, whether it's a federal judiciary or our state judiciaries. And it means different things in the federal courts than it does in the state courts. But I think Chief Justice Roberts' comments this week and in recent times have been important, that our country works best, our rights get best protected when we have three independent branches of government who understand that their job is to provide checks and balances, to restrict the excesses of any other branch of government. And so I think that what we have to keep doing is leading by example, focusing on people first and the Constitution and the rule of law, and understand that when you have three different branches of government, there will always be some tensions. But we have to both understand our roles and be willing to do our work as jurists without fear or favor, even in intimidating circumstances.
All right. Justice Allison Riggs, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.